How can you write a literature review in 3 simple steps? Let me walk you through them today in this episode of Navigating Academia. What's up, Navigating Academia family? This is your buddy and personal academic mentor, Dr. J. Phoenix Singh, former Ivy League professor and also professor at Cambridge. It is a pleasure to be able to be here with you today. Today I'm going to be talking with you about how to write a literature review in 3 simple steps. The number of literature reviews, y'all, that I have written, be they for a master's thesis or one of my 2 doctoral dissertations or any of my 94 peer-reviewed publications that I've put out since, or even, chapters in any of the 4 books that I've published with leading publishers, all of them super challenging, but I have found these tips have helped me so much, and so I hope it is a blessing to be able to help you out as well. Number 1 is to be able to organize your thoughts and to focus on a clear research question. Figure it out. What exactly are we looking at, okay? Because if you're starting by developing a clear understanding of what you want to achieve with that literature review, it's going to go way smoother, as opposed to saying, you know what, I'm going to get started and we'll just kind of see what happens, and then I'll go down some rabbit holes. You got to trust me on this one. Doesn't work very well. If you're in a case like that, what I want you to do is to find existing systematic reviews and meta-analyses, right? And I want you to read them. I'm talking about the last 5 years in your particular area, and I want you to read them to be able to find out what are the gaps in the literature, right? And once you find out what the gaps are, I want you to take a look from the time that thing came out up until the day when you're doing the search, and I want you to search out and see if anybody has tried to plug those holes. And if not, that research question that you want to answer, obviously you need a lit review kind of behind it. This is something that's a great idea because you can say with certainty, and also obviously you want to cite that review, right, that you found, that meta-analysis or systematic review. This is going to give you a really good horizon for you to be able to get in there and make an actual contribution to the field. Something that can also get you a conference paper, poster, maybe even a publication down the line, which would be amazing, especially if you want to get into graduate school, my goodness, right? So speaking of getting into grad school, if you guys want to learn how to be able to select your target program, target supervisor, write a incredibly successful personal statement, diversity statement, get interview prep, build out your CV, go get a 7-day free trial of Publication Academy. Doesn't cost you a thing. 1 low monthly cost after that. Trust me on this one, you will thank yourself. So let's get back to it. Defining that research question and then organizing your thoughts around that question is going to help you focus that review and ensure that it's relevant and useful as well. Number 2 is to be able to search and evaluate sources critically. One thing that I always tell you guys is that, to me, research methods and stats are the keys to the kingdom. And the reason why is that they let you call BS. They let you call bullshit, right, on papers that are published with really poor methods and stats. Just because you've got a whole bunch of publications does not mean that all of them are created equal. The number, after just doing systematic reviews myself and meta-analyses and reading every article that met pre-specified search criteria, I'm telling you more than anybody else that it is a rough in terms of finding articles that used things properly in terms of the methods and then analyzed everything properly as well. The problem is that this bad quality stuff gets published. Other people who are junior look at it and they're like, oh, I guess this is the right way to do it. And then they copy those people doing a bad job, and all of a sudden it proliferates, then everybody's doing it. It's like a big game of telephone. If you ever played telephone back when you were a childhood game, right? You want to conduct an extensive search of relevant sources. We're talking about academic journals and books and conference proceedings, online databases. You want to use something high sensitivity like Google what am I thinking of? Google Scholar, as well as something high specificity like my field of psychology. So we use PsycInfo. If you were in education, you use ERIC. If you were in nursing, you use CINAHL. You get the idea. And then after you find all these things, we call them records. After you find all these records, you want to evaluate every source critically. First start by screening its abstract, because it may not meet your inclusion criteria for the lit review. Everything that it does, though, try to be able to get a copy of everything. Your university library can help you with that if you can't find it yourself. And then after that, actually read the thing and see whether or not methodologically and statistically it is actually relevant to your research question, okay? And make sure that you've got a mix of not just, it doesn't have to be the latest stuff. You just want to be able to make sure that you've got some kind of a logical, like a reasonable time frame that you're searching within. For example, in my field, the contemporary field started in 1994 in terms of my area of violence risk assessment. So when I'm going back and I say I'm going back to 1994, there's a very good reason I'm going back to 94. Other fields that are newer, like AI, for example, people might say, you know what, I'm going to go back towards November of 2022, when ChatGPT was released to the masses. If there was some sort of an event that ended up taking place, something seminal that occurred, if you can backdate it to that, all good in the hood. At the end of the day, you want a comprehensive overview of the field or of the research question, but you should include anything that meets pre-specified search criteria to the extent that you can. Is that more of a systematic literature review? Yes, but that is still a literature review, okay? So, number 3, last but not least, is to synthesize the information and write in a clear and concise manner, okay? After conducting your research, evaluating the sources, I want you to synthesize the information that you gathered. I recommend always having some sort of a standard form so you don't drive yourself nuts down the line. Basically just gathering data from everything. You can do this in a Google Sheet. You can do this. Some people still do it old school, so they do it in something like just like little cards of paper, right? Whatever you want to do is fine, but just make sure that you've got some system so you're not just writing stuff down willy-nilly and then trying to figure out how it all goes together. Why? Because you got to present that information in a clear, a concise, and an organized manner. And you want to be sure to be able to incorporate, obviously, proper citations and references, as you do. So let's say, for example, in my field, we use APA. In other fields like, let's say you're in medical sciences, you'd use AMA, whatever the style is. If you're in a lot of humanities, you use something like MLA or Chicago, Harvard style, and so forth. Just make sure that your writing is concise and make sure that you've effectively summarized the information from your sources. Remember, if you want to make something seem more impressive, it doesn't mean that you have to write more. It means you have to write more elegantly. And when I say that, what I mean is being parsimonious, trying to say the most with the least. That's the goal, especially of a literature review. You guys know me, depending on the field, right, like criminology versus forensic psychology, no matter what happens, your introduction section needs to cover 5 questions. If you can answer the same 5 questions for your readership, you have got them, all right? Now, what are those 5? I'm gonna leave you hanging. Go down here to Publication Academy, get that free trial, watch the module on how to be able to write an effective introduction section. It's gonna take you through all of them, okay? So, God bless you guys. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you ever wanna work one-on-one with me to help me get you, I keep switching that around, guys. So, to allow me to help you get into your top doctoral or master's program choice, head down here to gradschoolapplicationcoach.com, all right? And we'll have a great time and we'll take it from there. God bless you guys. Thank you so much for watching this video, and I will see you in the next one. Peace. Thank you so much for stopping by, everyone. It's a pleasure to have you here as always. If you enjoyed this video and you'd like to see more in this series on navigating academia, please click on one of these links over here to be able to view more original content. I hope to see you there.